If you're printing t-shirts for Etsy, and if you're tired of picking niches that are completely dead, that are either completely dead or completely trademarked, this video is going to be for you. I spent a few hours doing the research in this video to help you understand how to go about research and finding the demand there. Plus at the end, I'll be throwing some bonus niches for you. So you have 10 niches and then you get 3 more bonus ideas at the end. So you wanna make sure you stick around. And all I ask is that you smash that like button if you get any value out of this video. And the tool that I'm using is called the EverBee Research Tool. I break it all down and show you in this video how I use it personally. So if you want to take your Etsy game and make even more sales, make sure you check out that tool down below. I have my affiliate link, so I do get a kickback from that. All right, so this is what I looked at for every single one of these niches. 1, demand. Is there a real passionate buyer, not just a general interest, and an actual self-identifying community? 2, competition. I wanted, under 50,000 Etsy listings. Ideally, the lower the better, right? And that's the main goal. And then 3, and this is one of the most niche videos skipped. I looked at 1 listing age versus sales. If a listing has been up for, let's say, less than 120 days and it's already making 5, 10, 20 reviews on it, that's a trending niche. That's a niche that you can still get in, and that's the one you want. And 4, I double checked every single one of these phrases for trademarks and copyright traps, so you don't get a strike on, let's say, your shop, your website, your Amazon account. But also make sure that you always double check on your end, because this is very important when it comes to trademarks and copyrights. And all I ask, if you get any value out of this video, smash that like button, because it genuinely helps me push this video into the algorithm and I'm able to create more content like this. Let's get into it. All right, so the first niche is going to be, as I'm looking at this right here, is pickleball humor. Okay, funny pickleball shirt. You're seeing like this one's like bestseller. You're seeing over here, this one's a bestseller. And then if we were looking at this right here, this is EverBee tool right here, you're going to see the listing age and then sales. Like, this is a good sign right here. This is a solid sign right there, right? When it comes to anything like that. Now, pickleball has been one of the fastest growing sports in America for 4 straight years, and Etsy is flagging sport core as a 2026 trend. Players are 35 to 65. Like when it comes to something like this, you want to think about like when people are like buying gifts. This is just a big hit, like a heavy demand right here. Okay. There's definitely thousands of shirt ideas out there, but the main thing is when I'm looking at anything like this is like, what can we do here? Okay, this is a solid one. This is a solid one with the goose. The goose is trending everywhere, right? When it comes to anything like this. And when we come down, look at, here's a dink responsibility. There's a frog. That's a cool one. Playing pickleball improves. Remember, you can see like, so we're getting like, this is a bestseller right here, right? This right here, dogs and pickleball. This is a solid one. But the first thing is like, this one's doing good. And then this one's doing good, right? Is that the same exact one? It's just not, it's just different shops. But that's catching my attention because it's a bestseller. This one's catching my attention too because this is a bestseller. So now, what I would do is just take a screenshot of that, right? So as I took a screenshot of that, I'm going to come over here into Claude AI. I'm going to go ahead and share this screenshot. Now, I'm going to do this with this one niche, and they're going to kind of get that concept and the idea for the rest of the niches that I'm sharing in this video. So let's go ahead, and I'm using a tool called Whisper. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to give me 10 more funny pickleball ideas that will be good for a t-shirt design. Similar to something like this. If you have to mix in any like a cross niche in some way, you can do that too as well. But I'm looking for 10 ideas that I can create on Etsy that will be a bestseller. And then, boom, let's go ahead and hit the send. And then it's going to go ahead and generate for us, right? And then as that generates, we'll just let it think. It's thinking, and it's going to kind of do its own little research and then give us some ideas. And what we're doing here is leveraging, if you're unaware, we're leveraging AI to do all the heavy lifting for us, right? This AI has been like getting better and better and better over the years now, right? And it's crazy. Like if you're not using this, you want to make sure that you're using this. So, okay, there's some solid stuff. And I'm just gonna pick one of these ideas here. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna kind of show you, you would create like the prompt idea to plug into an image generator. So pickleball cheaper than therapy. 3 sticks. Okay. So now let's say we like number 1. I like number 1. Can you turn it into a Ideogram prompt idea for me to create a design? Okay, so we're going to take that into a prompt idea. Yep. And then look at that. Okay, you get the idea here. Just wanted to share you this right here so you can get this idea. Now what we're going to do is take that and then bring it over here, paste it in here. And as we paste it in there, we'll go ahead and hit enter. And it's going to go ahead and generate a design for us. And this is powerful. Okay, this is one of the tools that I like to use to create designs fast and test fast, right? And this is the concept and this is the idea here. This is what, now I'm not saying that that prompt idea is going to be the best prompt idea. You may have to go in there and reword a few things, create a different ideas and different concepts, but let's look at what it created for us. Pickleball, bills, work, family. Okay. Did it really? It seems like, oh, there we go. Pickleball, cheaper than therapy. Okay. Bills, work, family. There you go. A little better, right? So it seemed like these two got it wrong here, or these three, and then like this one is like, is right there. Okay. And then you would obviously have to take out the background. That's a whole nother process, a whole nother video, but you get the concept of kind of how we plugged it all in. You may have to go back over here and fine tune it, but I just want to share the idea of this and how you can just come up with one niche idea. Then you can move on to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. You can do this and rinse and repeat this with every single niche idea I'm going to share with you in this videos. But you know, the most important thing is the research. We're looking for like demand listing age. Like this one here would be a solid another one to do. It's a bestseller listed 5 months ago by looking at this EverBee tool. And then you have 24 sales, okay, within the last month. And this is solid. This is a good sign right here when you compare that to that. So it's been up for 5 months. Obviously, means that there's a demand here. This is what we want right here. And then let's move on to the next niche. All right, the next niche idea is sourdough and bread baking, okay? Now, sourdough searches have doubled over after like 2020. This is a big community. People go to events for this. They love this type of stuff. And I think it's very powerful because when you see stuff like this, especially if you have friends that are interested in certain things, there is a ton of different concepts and different ideas that you can do here. And I feel like this is an underserved niche as you're looking at certain ideas and certain concepts. And once again, we're looking at this, look at 14-month listing age, 23 monthly sales. Okay. Come over here. Look at 5 listing age, 11 monthly sales. Here comes that goose again. You're seeing that trend, right? Just taking that, you're seeing that the gooses are trending, right? And you're mixing them into different ideas and different concepts. Now, when you see this, it's more of, okay, you see like, okay, this is a good idea. I can create a design like this. Like, you know, something like this, you don't have to worry about the trademarks and copyrights because it's more of a general thing when it comes to anything like this. Now, when it comes to like putting like a text on a t-shirt, now you have to be a little bit careful because you want to make sure that you're not, you know, trademarking or infringing or, you know, copyrights or anything like that. Now, I feel like different design angles when it comes to something like this, you're seeing this work, but like in my sourdough era, like, you know, something like that, me and my starter, Dolores, like, all right. So there's like different ideas. I'm looking at some notes right here that I have because I feel like some of these niches, and I do a lot of research on this channel too, if you're unaware. And look at this one, the skeleton, the sourdough dealer. This is a solid one right here. Sourdough hoe. Look at, okay, see like something simple like this. Look at the listing age. This is powerful when you're using the EverBee tool. And then you can see, right, there's that one we just looked at. But when I see stuff like that, I'm okay, there's definitely a demand here. People are buying. You just got to figure out what they're buying and then create something that they would like. There's another one, 3 months, 5 sales. This is solid, right? Another one, 4 months, 2 sales. You can see the demand here. This is a very solid, really good demand. I feel like when it comes to anything like this, you just want to be very careful when you're looking at any of these different design ideas and different concepts, but there is definitely a big demand here when it comes to anything related to the sourdough and the bread baking niche. So the next idea is a disc golf shirt. The disc golf niche, no disc golf today. Look at, okay, 2 months, 1 sale. Okay, and then we come down right here. There is the goose again. Silly goose, the silly goosey, 1 month, 2 sales. Solid idea. Now, when the sun comes up, okay, the sun, like springs upon us and the sun is coming out. No more winter. Well, depends where you're at, right? There's snow in certain areas right now, but there's more search volume. People are buying more depending on what type of, you know, season it is, based on the sport, based on the activity, based on the hobby. Keep that in mind. Like golf right now is probably crushing it. Look at 7 months, 2 sales. This is solid. Now, some of these, niches, there's more sales than others. Yes, that's natural when it comes to people buying stuff online because there's more demand, there's more popularity compared to other niches. But this is, you get the idea and you get the concept here. So this is powerful if you understand that, especially with, sports outside or hobbies outside that people love to do. It's a perfect idea to get outside and enjoy the sun and play some sports or do some hobbies with family. So keep that in mind when I'm sharing this with you. There's so many different concepts and different ideas that you can cover here. And then just a few different design concepts and design angles. Chains are calling with a silhouette basket, retro 70s, sunset disc golf, dad, or for Father's Day, that would be a solid one, especially with Father's Day coming up. I feel like this would be a good idea. And you're seeing like the Bigfoot too. I think anything like that would be really good when it comes to anything like this. Now, you just want to be careful with any brands or logos here. You don't want to infringe on anything like that to get, you don't want to get any strikes or anything like that. But this is a really, really solid niche. Next one is going to be crochet and knitting puns. I feel like this right here is a big one too as well. Goes that goose again. Look at these the little yarn balls, right? So there's yarn balls, knitting, crochet. When you're looking at any of this stuff, you're getting an idea what people like on their shirt, right? I'm a hooker in my spare time. Like, see, there's different ideas, different concepts here. This is some solid stuff. Don't talk to me, I'm counting. Okay, I own a 9mm and I know how to use it. There's some good stuff in here. This is cool. This is a solid one right here. Skeletons, raccoons, possums, gooses. So it actually has made sales. If you look at this conversion rate, it has actually made sales, but within the last month, and it hasn't made any sales. Crochet is my jam, and I'm here to spread it. Okay, but different ideas here. This is solid. Some mixing animals or anything like that, but it seems like skeletons seems to be a good one right here. But there's definitely a big demand over here for this, and like I feel like designing, like the design angles that you're looking for is, if you see like skeletons, any funny sayings with the skeletons will work really good. Crochet and knitting, all that stuff will work really good when it comes to something like this. Now, there's certain words in here that are trademarks, so making sure that you're double checking for. One that popped up was knit happens, okay, and then stitch witch. Those seem to be some common ones that I found personally on my end, and obviously with different trademarks that some of them, they end up, the trademark's not there no more in the next couple of years. Like, the registration's not there. Or there's some that are actually, and this is where it gets confusing for some people, like the trademark will be there, it's going through the whole process, and then you already have your design up, and then you don't even know about it, then it becomes live, and then you run into an issue where you get a takedown because you got a trademark designed up. That's normal in this business, by the way. If you're doing print on demand, if you're unaware of that, that happens. There's nothing wrong with that because sometimes you're human. You can't track everything. You can't do everything, right? You're trying as best as possible to understand, how to get a design up, and then it starts making money, and then trademark happens and you have to take it down. So I just, this is the way the game works. And then niche number 5 is going to be Bernedoodle shirts. Now, when you look at anything like this, you're going for specific dog breeds. You're not going to be going after say something that's very general. You don't want to say like dog and like dog mom. Okay. You don't want to do anything like that. And I believe that dog mom is trademarked. So it's like more of like, you can do like a Bernedoodle mom. Okay. That would be a good one. Bernedoodle mama, Frenchie dad, Aussie mom, bulldog dad. There's so many different ideas right there. And that's when the actual competition starts to drop. Now, we researched this concept, this idea with the iced coffee with the glasses on with like the meme style. That was actually a really cool one. Where's our EverBee tool? There it goes. It's starting to populate right here. There's some really solid ones in here. I feel like, look at this one. So 1 month, 4 sales. That's solid. 3 months, 7 sales. And this is a Bernese. It's not unrelated, but it's not. It's because we're looking for more dog breed style designs, right? And as you can see, look at that one right there. Got the goose again. You're following us everywhere we go. Okay, I want to curl up with a good book and my Bernedoodle. So you can see this one's solid. It seems like definitely like one of those cool dogs. Look at this one's solid too. One of those cool dogs that people love, and I've seen a few of these dogs out in walks and stuff with my dogs. And I think this is a good idea because when it comes to anything like this, Just paying attention to what, dogs you see in public is a really good idea, because next thing you know it, you can definitely create different ideas and different concepts. Okay. Now, so different design angles, something I've seen is like my kids have paws, right? And you're talking about the dog, and then you can mix in like different, like a silhouette of a different dog breed, crazy Bernedoodle lady or something like that, instead of like crazy cat lady. Keep in mind there's different colors, the tricolor Bernedoodle club. Like I said, anything, be careful. You want to double check everything, like dog mom, mama bear, girl dad, boy mom, anything like that seems to be trademarked. They were trademarked at one point, so you just want to make sure that you're double checking that. And I think like the next thing will be like, if you don't feel comfortable like using like a mama or a parent, anything like that, what can help you create something like your a work around it, right? And obviously you just want to be careful, because you don't want to be trying to do that with bigger brands. You don't want to work around bigger brands, and understanding trademarks and your copyrights, which is very important. The next niche is going to be the nurse niche. Now, this is going to be like a more general, so it's a more general phrase, right? Nurse's shirt. I want you to think about, the different types of nurses out there. There's a NICU nurse, a pediatric nurse, ER nurse, and there's several different sub niches within that. So you kind of get the idea, get the concept when it comes to something like that. Because when you look at anything, there's even here labor and delivery nurse. So you get the idea, like we're near sub niche and down. Look at the listing age too, and we're going very broad, because then we're trying to just narrow, like funnel it down to something like this. You can see it's popular. Listing age 3 months, and then within the last month, it's 23 sales. That's crushing it, right? And then as you go down, there's the goose again. Okay, 7 months, okay, 6 months, 33 sales, and this is more of like that, just mixing different patterns. So you can see how they're mixing the wildflowers with nurse, crushes it right there. Okay, so when you're seeing this stuff, you're looking at, it's giving you information. The algorithm is feeding you stuff, and you're like, okay, this seems to be working really good. Maybe let me try something like this, or let me try my own idea. Maybe I can come up with my own. Or you just thought of something, you're like, okay, that seems like a good idea. Now, just different ideas. So like design angles, for example, like the NICU nurse life. Okay, you can see something like that with like there's band-aids, there's IV bags, little syringes, stuff like that. So you're looking at that type of stuff. Now, when it comes to anything like this, just be careful with using any type of branded like scrubs or anything like that. You don't want to use no type of logos or anything. Okay, just pay attention to what you're doing, and when you're creating any type of design, just steer away from that type of stuff. So the next idea, number 7, is the backyard chicken keeping. The Cottage core wave backyard chicken ownership is up 40%. So, the crazy chicken lady is the new crazy cat lady, right? Also too, the egg prices have came down a bit, right? And I feel like this is still like an underserved niche. So backyard chicken keeping, let's say chicken shirt, you're seeing like the funny stuff like this pop up, and we're just seeing that right there. But backyard chicken too is a big one. So when you're looking at anything like this, how can you relate to people that are actually coming over here buying like these certain types of hen chicken, retro style? You're seeing a lot of these keywords populating over here, like the little floral to 10 months, 24 sales. We have to go down. We have to kind of dig in a bit over here with this one. But this is definitely, over the years of doing research, this is one of those niches where you'll see a few of these designs take off and trend and make a good amount of money. Okay, that fuck that design right there, you see that everywhere. It's one of those popular ones. Like for example, that one, it's crazy. It's going trending all over the internet and making a good amount of sales. Now I just feel like different design angles here, right? You're seeing like a crazy chicken lady. You can personalize it with different names. This is that little meme style mugshot looking one, and then you can personalize it like where some people name their actual chickens, which is that's a thing. People have the names for their chickens, which is really cool, because you can see that they're their pets and they love them and they take care of them because they feed them, they give them eggs, so that it kind of grows that bond with that actual chicken owner. Look at this one, coffee and chickens. Something simple as this right here, that this is crazy. Just it's a simple words on a t-shirt and it's making sales. So I see some people on here just they'll list like chickens, they'll think of farms, stuff like that. And you just want to be careful with certain brands, as far as you don't want to use a logo from a brand of a tractor, or a logo from a brand from like a chicken coop or anything like that. Any type of branding stuff, you just want to be very careful. Or any popular farms, you don't want to be doing nothing like that. You want to steer clear of that, but this is a really solid niche, and I feel like it's still underserved. You know, we're not seeing like a ton of sales here, but we're seeing a good amount of sales. Number 8 is birding and bird watching. Now you're seeing like a popular demand and spike in this. So for example, Merlin the Bird ID app has over 100 million downloads, and then eBird has a million active user, and yet you see stuff like this and you're saying, okay, if they're downloading this type of stuff, so if the number one app is like say like there's a good amount of users using a certain app, most likely there's a demand and people will buy. And with that being said, if you come over here to Etsy, you're looking at this, a bird watchers club. We got 2 months, 7 monthly sales. Okay, and then 8 months, 11, 9 months, 36. A bird nerd, that one's sick right there. That's a pretty cool one. Okay, 12 months, 2 sales. But you're seeing the idea here, 3 months, 4. This one's crushing, right? See stuff like this? Yeah, I would never even thought about anything like this unless I did research. So just making sure that you understand that. And this one's 2 months and has a sale already. Just different types of birds, what type of birds people like to see, like, you know, to go watch. Look at Seed Dealer. That's that's cool. I feel like just different concepts and funny sayings were always going to work in these type of niches. So like rather be birding, you can do like a life list checklist type of shirt. We'll trade kids for birds, humor, anything like that will work really good. And I think it will keep on working good as far as it goes. Bird watching, especially when the sun starts to come out more and the birds start to come out more, people start to come out more. This is a solid niche right here. This is like one of those secret niches I'm sharing right here in this video that you probably wouldn't even thought of unless you did research. So birding and bird watching. All right, niche number 9, beekeeping. When it comes to anything like this, it's also to the sun's coming out. You know what I mean? This is one of those, you think of honey, I'm thinking of a beekeeper, beekeeping, bees. There's all kinds of stuff going on here, and I feel like it's underserved here when you compare it to like other social media platforms. The other one too, just throw it out there, was ladybugs. That was a big thing the other day out here in Las Vegas. There was a ladybug event where, just throwing this out there, right? It has nothing to do with this one. There's a ladybug event where they released millions of ladybugs, and then you see tons of people leaving comments, and then it going viral. I was like, that's really cool. So same thing with the beekeeping. I feel like this is coming bigger and a bigger trend, and people just, you know, they love bees and they love beekeeping. The listing age, you look at this, we're looking at that, you see it's 10 months to 10 sales, 2 months, 0 sales. And let's look at this one right here. Here's one. This is a Bigfoot beekeeping. Look at 3 months to 5 sales. That's a solid one right there. That's a solid design that's popular now. Anatomy, okay, bumblebee, right? There's some good stuff here. Okay, and then also too, like you'll see, like I feel there's like, I feel like there's more bees when the sun's out, right? So there's more and more bees out there, and all right, there's more stuff going on with bees. But did we see a goose yet? Did we see one? I haven't seen a goose. Oh, there. Okay, that was the first one we've seen, right? It does have cells. So when you see that, it does have cells, but I feel like there's something else that you can definitely do here that I'm seeing. This might even be a solid one, just mixing and put a goose walking by itself. You see it works with the Bigfoot, right? I think another one would be, you know, just a goose walking by itself instead of doing all this kind of like the different things that a goose would do with being a beekeeper, right? You know, you can just do something like that. That will work really good. I feel like that design angle would be one of the best ones to do. Now, I think also be careful seeing people using like Honey Nut Cheerios, like a buzz bee character. You want to be careful, right? That, okay, you don't want to be doing anything like that. You don't want breaking any rules or infringing on any type of brands, but just staying more general with the bee and then coming up with any funny concepts would work really good. All right, niche number 10 is going to be mushroom and the cottage core, like a naturalist. So like outdoorsy, earthy, like I got magic mushrooms, like a different aesthetic, looking at different ideas here, the keywords. Now, this is a big one on TikTok. There's like over 5 billion views. And then this niche is like crosses into gardening, hiking. I feel like this is a really, really like a broad base of buyers. And you see stuff like this. When you see stuff like this, you're trying to like, okay, like this seems to be really good, but I feel like it's still underserved over here on Etsy. And look at this goblin core. There's certain keywords here, or certain phrases that are being used. And then like you can see this one's, there's definitely a demand for this shirt, right? Almost sold every single day for the month. And so you see stuff like that. That's like, okay, that's 25 sales the month, and like that's solid right there, right? When you see something like that, anything with puns, frogs and like mushrooms and magic mushroom, right? You can see like that word being used right there. And then like this style right here, like the flower style, I've seen this working really good. Kind of see like right here, even the cottage core, like you can see that right there too as well. Mushroom and cottage core seems to be working really good. And here's another one, right? So I feel like you're doing a little bit more research. Like if you do research on TikTok a little bit more and then create a design that way, kind of just doing the research or vice versa on TikTok instead of doing it on Etsy, that would be a good idea. Now I see a few people using like the Super Mario mushrooms. Nintendo's very aggressive with anything like that. If you're infringing, they'll definitely come after you when it comes to something like that. So you just want to be very, very careful, and you don't want to play around in that field at all. Now, here are a few different ideas too as well moving forward. Now, Father's Day is approaching. Mother's Day is right here, but Father's Day is the next one. So Mother's Day, Father's Day. So I want you to pay attention to anything like that. Now's the time to create designs for Father's Day. As far as, think about the stuff that we went over in this video. If you can cross niche into that, would be really good. Like dog breeds and father, any outdoor hobby or sports from baseball, football, basketball, disc golf, any of that stuff works really good. And then I feel like even like there's a lot of guys out there doing like a lot of sourdough stuff. You can probably just do some research and see like what ideas out there that you can possibly create when it comes to anything related to anything I shared in this video. You're just mixing dad into that. I think that would be a good idea. Now, one thing too, you want to get ahead. Like some of the stuff that I'm seeing is like peaking by late July would be like a cottage core Halloween, something new that I've seen that is actually doing pretty good when it comes to anything related to Halloween, right? And that's obviously out. Even like in Christmas in July. Okay, that's a very popular one. I've sold thousands of shirts in that niche, Christmas in July. And then when you literally think about Christmas in July, that starts to trend, but people are already buying for Christmas, the actual holiday in December, which is crazy because we're only 2 months from July. And then from July, we're 5 months away from Christmas. So I just finished taxes last month. Now look, we got Christmas right around the corner. I'm gonna have to do taxes all over again, right? Now, making sure when I'm looking at any of this stuff, like seeing any of this stuff that I'm sharing with you, I have my monitors here. If I'm sharing anything with you right here, always double check for trademarks and copyrights. That is very important. Just because I'm sharing it with you doesn't mean you go out there and, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? It all goes hand in hand. So you have to do your end too for your business, right? I'm doing this for my business. You do this for your business, right? And that's just me sharing tips and tricks with you to help you with your business. Now, that's 10 different unique niche ideas. I have a free download down below for you to come up with even more niche ideas with you, right? The tool that I used in this video to help me with all this research is called the EverBee research tool. That's going to be down below in the description too. If you want to go ahead and download that is my affiliate link. I get a kickback from that. When it comes to all this stuff, just understanding it all, one step at a time, and then work your way into all of the information that I'm sharing with you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel with notification bells on. And if you want more Etsy research done for you like this, watch this video right here next. Peace out.